What's good, everybody? This is Joel, and I come back at y'all with another video. For this one, I wanted to share a short story with you guys, um, just because this story I keep it close to me. It just means a lot. As simple as it is, it means so much to me because it gave me so much insight as far as how I've been operating, right, as a person, and it's essentially given me the blueprint as far as how I should be, living my life from that moment, from learning the story onwards for the remainder of my life. And this one means so much to me, and I'm sure it'll mean a lot to you guys as well. So this one comes from my mentor. He basically brings up a hypothetical, right? He says, imagine you were driving down the road and you catch a flat tire, right? How would you react? And if you're like most people, right? Because I know how most people react, they'll be frustrated, they'll be angry, they'll say, why did this have to happen to me? They'll go and say, my whole day's ruined. Now I gotta, spend this money to, get a brand new tire. I gotta call, you know, like if they need their car to get towed, right? They need to do that, or they might need some roadside assistance, and whatever plans that they had, is down the drain, right? And that's pretty much the standard response across the board, right, for 99.9% of people. However, when my mentor mentioned it, he said that if he were in that situation, he would actually be excited, right? He would, if he were to stop the car on the side of the road and notice that a flat tire, he would go, "Ooh, I got a flat tire. Uh, who knows what this will lead to? Maybe this will lead to, if I have to call someone to like roadside assistance, maybe the person that I end up meeting ends up being one of my good friends for the rest of my life, or maybe I end up coming across someone that can, end up being a business partner of mine in the future, or maybe the flat tire was preventing me from going somewhere because wherever it is that I was heading, something screwball or something bad was supposed to happen, and maybe this flat tire was meant to save my life." And so you hear that, and for me, when I first heard that, I froze up because I instantly began thinking about how I would react as a person. I would, like 99.9% of people, I would react like the first person, right? Just feeling so frustrated because if you have something to do, like this flat tire is basically an obstacle in your way from getting you, from allowing you to do what it is that you had initially planned, rather than accepting it and trying to make the most of it, and actually, you know, remaining in a place of optimism and just belief that something great can come out of this, right? When I heard my mentor respond in that fashion and basically explain that, he was in that state because he was no longer reacting to life, that he was in a place of responding, where rather than the flat tire happening and I immediately getting frustrated and just reacting and saying, "Oh, only things like this happen to me. Like I'm so unlucky that instead of just operating from that fashion, right? He can respond to life, right? Being able to take a step back and say, okay, well, this event happened. Just because it happened doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, right? It can actually be working in my favor." And in a case like that, he didn't need a reason, right? Because from the moment he got the flat tire, right, he never received any sort of evidence that this was in fact good news, or that it was can actually end up being a, a good event for him. However, he began just brainstorming great outcome that could happen from this incident here. And that is what allowed him to protect his energy and ultimately still be positive, still be optimistic, and still have that joy and excitement for life. Because of course the beauty of life is the mystery of it, right? Not knowing exactly all the events that are going to unfold for you, right? And so because of that, he essentially approaches life with an an innocent, sort of like joyful, like as if we were kids, right? Just not knowing any better, but just still be excited and being happy. And that small example right there meant the world to me, and that's a story that I keep with me, right? The flat tire example, because I know that my the previous version of myself would have certainly reacted out of frustration, right, impulsively, because it's most people would agree, 99.9% of people would agree that a flat tire isn't a good thing, right? That it's a quote unquote bad thing. But events that happen aren't good or bad, they just are. And we're the ones that can assign meaning to it. Like, even if we don't have a logical reason or an example or an explanation for it at the given moment, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, that it can end up being one of the best things, right? Just imagine that the flat tire did allow you to meet someone that ended up being such a great person, that's someone that's going to be in your corner for the rest of your life. Or if the flat tire was indeed supposed to save your life, right? You may not ever know that, but that doesn't mean that you still can't be grateful for it. You know, that that flat tire example shows that you can be grateful for anything and everything in your life, regardless of how it looks, regardless of the event that unfolded. And for me, that was the major mindset shift right there, right? That rather than just reacting to life, we can essentially take life by the horns, right? And begin responding. And even if something feels as though it's not a good event, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, right? Like, it can end up working in your favor and end up being super beneficial to you. And of course, being in that state where you're excited, where you're optimistic, where you're just eager to see what unfolds, what happen next, right? When you're putting out that positive energy, you're essentially attracting it back to you, because everything around us is energy. This whole world is energy. That's how the universe operates. So operating in that fashion essentially is what effectively sort of it makes you practically invincible, because it's like, regardless of what life throws at me, I know I'm the one in control. And even if something that doesn't appear to be good unfolds, doesn't necessarily mean it has to be bad, right? It can end up being the best thing for me, and it can end up, you know, being a miracle in my life. Without me ever having the immediate evidence at that moment, it can still end up being something great. And even if it may not turn out to be the case, right? Even if it was just like a flat tire, right? It can still also create a future event for you that can end up being like the biggest blessing in your life. So just wanted to leave you guys with that short story there, the flat tire story. This one is just a lesson to teach you, rather than reacting to life, which most of us have been trained our whole life to do, right? To just react. Certain things happen, react, where there's like anger, frustration, right? Like worrying, feelings of hopelessness. These are all just reactions. They're not us actually taking a step back and responding to life. So if you're looking for a major mindset shift, right, think of the flat tire example, right? How would you react to the flat tire? And if you're not reacting like my mentor, right, if you're not reacting in a positive fashion, just believing that everything's going to work itself out, and actually the flat tire was intended to happen because it's serving as a blessing for you, then you have some work to do, right? You, for me, when I first heard the story, I was I thought of myself in that person's shoes, and I was able to see how far I was from, where I was at that moment versus my mentor, right? Which is the person that I want to, eventually mold myself to. And I'm just happy and proud to say that I'm well on my way to being, the positive, optimistic person, where I'm in control of my life and I'm no longer reacting. I'm just responding to the events that unfold. And when you get to a point where you're responding, that's where your true power lies, because you're no longer an observer, right? You're not. The thing about people who are observers is, when life is going well, right, they're doing well, everything's going great. But then when things aren't going well, that's when they struggle, because it's difficult for them to find ways to see the good. But if you train yourself to see the good, then at that point you're essentially a visionary, because you know that great things are going to happen, and it's inevitable for great things to happen, and you're not focused on the external circumstances or the situation or the events that are unfolding in your life. You're not paying attention to that, right? Because you're creating the blessings in your life for them to unfold for you. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully this one is as meaningful to you as it is to me. If you enjoyed this video, do leave a like, comment down below any thoughts you might have, subscribe, as your support is greatly appreciated. Do turn on post notifications and share this video with anyone who you think would benefit from this. This is Joel, and I'm out. See you guys next time.